Good evening, doctors. Welcome again. Today we are going to discuss about MRCP Part 2 MCQs. Mrs. X, 20 years, is complaining of intermittent abdominal distension. Remember intermittent abdominal distension, bloating, with bouts of loose motions for 8 months. She also reports changes in her menstrual cycle, worsening symptoms with premenstrual cycle. She had past medical history of depression. So, hope you understand. Examination were unremarkable. Upper and lower GI endoscopy normal. Investigations reveal hemoglobin 11.5, MCV 78, leukocyte 9, serum sodium 137, serum potassium 3.4. Okay, so these are the reviews. ESR 8, calcium 2.3, serum albumin 38. Okay, what is likely diagnosis? So guys, pause this video, think carefully. Abdominal bloating, diarrhea, these symptoms indicates what? So these combines to form irritable bowel syndrome. Let's discuss. Yeah, diagnosis of IBS is considered if there is a abdominal pain or discomfort that is either relieved by defecation or associated with altered bowel frequency or stool from at least 6 months. This should be accompanied by at least two of the following four symptoms: altered stool passage, straining urgency, incomplete evacuation, abdominal bloating or distension, symptoms made worse by eating, passes of mucus. Other association like sexual dysfunction due to poor libido, worsening of symptoms in premenstrual period, and stress related symptoms. Okay, now Mr. X, suffering from 2-month history of cough, hemoptysis, breathlessness. He has noted drop of urine output and frothy urine 10 days. Remember. Examination reveals bilateral basal crepitation. His chest X-ray shown in image. Hemoglobin 10, serum creatinine 155, serum sodium 136, potassium 4.5, serum calcium 2.2. Cholesterol 5.6 higher, triglyceride 13.2 high, urine 24-hour 2.2 gram proteinuria. Pulmonary function test shows elevated DLCO. Lung biopsy shows hemosiderin-leading, macrophages and linear staining of IgG along the alveolar capillary basement membrane. What investigations should be asked for confirming diagnosis? Read carefully, pause this video. So information is anti-glomerular basement membrane antibodies. Why? Let's see. Patient has Goodpasture syndrome. It is diffuse pulmonary hemorrhage and acute or rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis due to the presence of circulating anti-glomerular basement membrane anti-GBM antibodies, which are directed against type 4 collagen. Serologic assay for anti-GBM antibodies is diagnostic. Lung biopsy exclude granulomatous inflammation as a diagnosis, so ANSA is not indicated. Chest X-ray shows bilateral patchy perihilar and bibasilar parenchymal consolidations, unlike Wagner granulomatosis, which is manifested. Okay. Now, Mr. X presents with paroxysmal attacks of cough, dyspnea, chest tightness. Cough, dyspnea, chest tightness getting worse over the last year, has repeated chest infection over the last 6 months. Smoked 10 cigarettes a day until 8 years ago. He had family history of urticaria or allergic rhinitis. FeE1 1.6, FVC 2.8, FV1 over FVC 60%, TLC 4.5 liter. What investigation should be done for diagnosis? Here we should go for Pause this video firstly. You think by your own, take 2 minutes and then decide which is best answer. So spirometry and with reversibility. Why? I will explain you. Pulmonary function test shows obstructive lung disease. It is manifest by reduced FEV1, FEV1 or FVC ratio and increased residual volume. The differential diagnosis is bronchial asthma or COPD. Spirometry with reversibility shows differentiate between asthma and COPD. In bronchial asthma, there will be reversibility of airflow obstruction and increases of FEV1 over more than 15% or equal to 15%. After inhaling a short-acting bronchodilator, unlikely COPD. That's why spirometry and with reversibility. Okay. Mr. X admitted to the ED as he was rescued from burning house. He has no burns, but he has tachypnea and seizures. His skin and mucosa are pink in color. His oxygen saturation was 96 at room air. ABG shows pH 7.48, that is alkalosis. Partial pressure of oxygen is 16. PCO2 is 2.8. Low retention of CO2. What is most likely diagnosis here? So this is a case of, pause this video, last one option is panic attack. Pause this video, think which is single best answer. So this is a case of carbon monoxide poisoning. Let's discuss. Yeah, carbon monoxide has a high affinity for hemoglobin, resulting in left shift of the oxygen dissociate curve and tissue hypoxia. Signs and symptoms include headache and dizziness, pink skin and mucosa, hyperpyrexia, convulsions, arrhythmia, respiratory arrest, coma, and death. Okay. Mr. X was seeking medical advice about recent weight gain. He was recently diagnosed to have diabetes and hypertension and has a long history of visual disturbances. Examination reveals obesity, especially in face, supraclavicular region, upper back and torso with skin thinning, hirsutism and bruising. There is gynecomastia. Investigation: hemoglobin is 13, leukocyte count 6.2, serum creatinine 88, serum sodium 142, serum potassium 3.2. Now pH is 4.56. Which of the following cause this symptom? So I am going to zoom this. So this symptom, you can pause this video and think which is single best answer. So benign pituitary adenoma. This is case of Cushing syndrome. This patient has Cushing syndrome with overweight, hypokalemic alkalosis. He has feature of increased ACTH with hirsutism and virilization. The long history of visual distribution points or to pituitary adenoma. Benign pituitary adenoma causes 70% of cases. Okay. Now, Mr. X complaining of exertional dyspnea and chest pain for 2 months. He has a 6-month history of abdominal pain and vomiting. Examination revealed pallor patches of vitiligo on the arms, trunk, palpable liver, spleen. Investigation shows leukocytes 10, platelet 280, erythrocytes 4.1, hemoglobin 9.2, MCV 105. You see his blood film shown in the image, bone marrow aspirate shown, hypercellular with erythroid hyperplasia with megaloblast. C. Hypersegmented neutrophil we see here in this image. What is likely diagnosis? So this is a case of, you can pause this video, take your time and try to answer. Pernicious anemia. This is a case of pernicious anemia. Okay. The investigation shows megaloblastic anemia. Peripheral smear morphology shows macroleucocytes. Hypersegmented neutrophils cause megaloblastic anemia and megaloblastic bone marrow. Vitamin B12 deficiency, folate deficiency, and cytotoxic drugs. Okay. Now, Mr. X complaining of light brown discoloration on his skin. Examination shows he has multiple light brown pigmented areas on her skin, a number of febrile cutaneous skin lesions, and maxillary freckling. Slit lamp examination was shown in the image. See this image carefully. What is most likely diagnosis? So this is a case of Neurofibromatosis type 1. Let's discuss. Neurofibromatosis type 1, nervous system tumor, form of nerve tissue. Type 1 is caused by gene mutation on chromosome 17 which encodes neurofibromin. Clinical diagnosis requires the presence of at least 2 of 7 criteria: 6 or more cafe outlet spots, 2 or more axillary or inguinal freckles, 2 or more typical neurofibromas, 2 or more Lisch nodules, hematoma, optic nerve glioma, sphenoid dysplasia, or typical long bone abnormalities such as pseudoarthrosis, first degree relatively with neurofibromatosis. Okay. Now, Mr. X complaining of pain and stiffness in the joint of his hands for 4 weeks. He also reported stable dyspnea that started 2 weeks ago. Examination shows symmetrical swollen hand joints at the level of metacarpophalangeal joint with soft tissue swelling around the joint. There are bilateral subcutaneous nodules around the elbow. Investigation shows leukocyte 6, platelets 230, erythrocyte 4.5, hemoglobin 8, rheumatoid factor is negative. Now see, X-ray shows pleural effusion, hand X-ray shown in the image. So you can pause this video, see the image carefully. What is likely diagnosis? So pause this video and think which is best answer. So this is a case of rheumatoid arthritis. Let's discuss why. Rheumatoid arthritis is a chronic autoimmune systemic inflammatory disease of unknown cause leading to articular and extra-articular manifestation. Persistent symmetric polyarthritis of hands and feet is hallmark feature. Hand X-ray shows loss of joint space, periarticular osteoporosis, and soft tissue swelling. Pleural effusion is a common pulmonary complication. Rheumatoid factor occurs in 60 to 80% of patients and is not specific for diagnosis. Okay. Mr. X was accompanied by his wife to psychiatric clinic. As he mentioned, he hears strange voices in his head. He describes the voices as 2 voices discussing about him. His wife reported he has lack of social interest, poor memory, and mood disturbance. What is likely diagnosis? Pause this video, think this is very easy answer, which is the single best answer. This is a case of schizophrenia. There is third person auditory hallucination is the most common symptom. Yeah, let's discuss. Schizophrenia is a brain disorder that affects how people think, feel, and perceive the world. The hallmark symptom of schizophrenia is psychosis, such as experiencing auditory hallucination and delusion. Symptoms of schizophrenia may be divided into following 4 domains: positive symptoms, psychotic symptoms as auditory hallucination; negative symptoms, decrease in emotion range, poverty, speech, and loss of interest; cognition symptoms, neurocognitive deficits in working memory and attention and in executive functions; mood symptoms, patient often seem cheerful or sad and often depressed. Okay. Mr. X was admitted due to fever and coma. He just returned from safari holiday in Kenya. Examination followed mild jaundice, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, bilirubin 52, ALT 260, serum creatinine 160, leukocyte is 8, platelet 60, neutrophils 3, lymphocytes is 4. So hemoglobin 9, fasting glucose 3, serum albumin 12. Blood film shows atypical lymphocytes. Urine analysis 3 plus protein. What is most likely diagnosis? So you should pause this video and think which is the single best answer here. So the single best answer here is Plasmodium malariae. Why Plasmodium malariae? Because atypical lymphocytes and proteinuria we see, and the patient is complaining of malaria, is suspected returning from travels from the endemic area, have a triad of thrombocytopenia, elevated lactate dehydrogenase levels of atypical lymphocytes. Hypoglycemia and lactic acidosis are common manifestation of severe disease. Acute renal failure and nephrotic syndrome are mostly caused of Plasmodium malariae. Okay. Mr. X complaining of 3 episodes of transient loss of consciousness not associated with chest pain during last week. He described the episode begins with severe palpitations of sudden onset followed by a loss of consciousness. His past history shows history of anterior myocardial infarction. 6 months ago, his ECG shown in image. Holter monitoring shows runs ventricular tachycardia. Pause this video, think the ECG, and the best answer here is, you can pause and think which is single best answer, that is left ventricular aneurysm. Let's discuss. Left ventricular aneurysm occurs after 3 months of MI. It is presented by persistent ST elevation with episodes of ventricular tachyarrhythmia diagnosed by 24 ECG monitor with echocardiography. ECG shows ventricular extrasystoles, deep anterior Q waves and ST segment elevation without reciprocal depression. Mr. X was admitted ED unconscious after he had hit the head after a car accident. A witness reported he initially collapsed to the ground for 2 minutes and recovered again after 2 minutes, complaining of headache. 10 minutes later, he collapsed again. 30 minutes. CT brain shown in this image. So, see, what is this? Okay, what type of injury most likely to be occurred? Pause this video. See single best answer. It is epidural hemorrhage. This is due to epidural hemorrhage. CT shows epidural hemorrhage. Extradural hemorrhage occurs between dura mater. There is rapidly increased intracranial pressure because the bleed in from high pressure system. It manifests by loss of consciousness followed by lucid interval, then sudden deteriorates occur. Okay. Mr. X complaining of itching rash for 4 days. He reported a long history of type 2 diabetes and recent history of follicular tonsillitis 2 weeks ago. Examination shows several tiny salmon pink scaly papules spreading over the back of the trunk, with the largest measuring 4 mm diameter as in image. Rashes also appear on a central abdomen scar on exploration operation. What is most likely diagnosis? I'm going to zoom this image, see what is diagnosis here. So this is a case of guttate psoriasis. Let's discuss. Psoriasis is a complex chronic multifactorial inflammatory disease that involves the hyperproliferation of the keratinocytes in the epidermis. It is manifested by worsening of long-term erythematous salmon pink scaly area with sudden onset of many small areas, scaly redness, dystrophic nails, pitting, onycholysis, subungual hyperkeratosis and loss of nail, scarring, alopecia with silver scale Koebner's phenomena. Guttate psoriasis is manifested by small raindrop rashes predominantly on the trunk, frequently appears 2-3 weeks after upper respiratory infection, group A, beta hemolyticus streptococci. Okay. Mr. X complaining of difficulty in night vision, reading 2 years. Fundoscopic examination shown in this picture. What is likely diagnosis? So I'm going to zoom this. Yes, you can pause this video, think which is this image. So this image indicates dry age related macular degeneration. So I already finished. Drusen tiny accumulation of extracellular material that build up in the retina. Retinal pigmentation changes. Advanced stage shows focal islands of atrophy and formation of large zones of atrophy. So guys, I hope till here it's very much clear for you. If you have any queries, any question, you can ask me, and if you're new on my channel, please subscribe it, and if you like this video, put like on it. Thank you, good day, goodbye. That's all for today.